got the book. Yep. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. You're going to love this. This has been a book that both Bobby and I have read now and have followed for the last probably good 6 weeks now at this point. It's called The Consistency Chain. We'll put it here. And I know most of you know I've been raving about this. Having been in the industry now for 28 years, I can truly say it is definitely the one book that I've not shut up about. I mean, it has just been that, right?
That's awesome.
That life-changing. Anybody that would listen for 2 minutes, I had to talk about it. So, so I'm thrilled, and we're super honored that George Campbell and Jim Packard, the authors of the book, are going to spend a little time with us and get to share what I saw originally on a Zoom call and have read about in the book. And you guys are just so entertaining. So I know everybody's in for a great treat.
Great. Thank you so much. I just want to say this, that the subject that we're dealing with, there's probably never been a more perfect time than addressing the subject of consistency right now, because it's funny, when we did the original recording of this call, it was before the entire world changed. And we've come to understand the limits of the amount of control that we have in our lives. I mean, a lot of people right now have come to the realization they really don't control their income. They don't control their career. They don't control their health as much as they thought. They may not have as much control over their relationships because they're social distance. And when you take all the things that we always felt like we had a degree of control over, and you look at what's left is exactly what we're talking about today, which is really almost the only thing you have control over is the actions that you take today. And how do you get yourself, especially in a time of such turmoil, how do you get yourself to stay focused and consistent on the actions that are going to serve you well throughout this time and through the time following this? So this is perfect timing. I'm glad that we got to do this phone call again, because the world has changed. Jim, do you have anything else to say at the beginning?
No, other than the fact that thank you for your kind words, April, about our book. When we originally, well, let me take it a step back. As you know, I've been in network marketing for a number of years, or used to be in network marketing, and had some success. And we hired George to come in and speak to our group. And my son actually hired George. I wouldn't have hired him, but but I'm there and I'm sitting there and I'm watching this guy on stage, and I'm going, now at the time he was doing a program called Joe Malarkey, America's Worst Motivational Speaker. And I don't typically laugh at comedians, but I mean, he was really good. I was laughing at him. Little did I know that he was a stand-up comic for 10 years with Jerry Seinfeld and that whole group that came up together. I didn't know that he had been on 60 Minutes. I was quite impressed with that. Also found out that he was on To Tell the Truth, and most people don't even know what that program was, but I did. And then I was told that he was in the Speakers Hall of Fame, which is only 2% of all the speakers in the United States. And I'm going, wow. And I'm watching him present, and the only thing I'm thinking of, wouldn't I love to have somebody like him on my team? Because he knew everybody, he had great stage presence. I mean, he's really can articulate, and you'll hear that as we go on. And I'm just thinking, wow, I wish George was on my team. And for years we communicated back and forth. And we got to, I don't know, about 3 years ago, George, now.
Yeah.
In fact, I went up to George after the program and I said, geez, George, I go, if you ever need a straight man on stage, I'll be your Ed McMahon. You can be the Johnny Carson, you know? And I mean, he didn't need me, April. He was doing fine on his own. But I always wished that he'd been on my team later on, because we came to realize that that probably would have been very frustrating for me. But I am thrilled to be working with somebody with his talent. So.
Well, and let me just tell you a little bit about Jim, just because it's really important to understand the contrast in both our histories and the type of people we are, because it goes to the crux of what we're going to be talking about today. But Jim was kind of the polar opposite of me, certainly in network marketing, because I had enjoyed some success in my other career, but I fell in love with network marketing early on, and just every time I attempted to develop a business, I struggled. And nothing, virtually nothing happened. And so when first time I saw Jim was on a network marketing stage, and he, of course, was one of the top 10 money earners in the company. And he was distributor of the year, 2 different companies. Before that, he had been unbelievably successful, and he built a company, a copier company, from a $500 investment to a $17 million a year company, and sold out to a Fortune 500 before he retired to Arizona.
Wow.
and started building other businesses. So we could not have been, especially in the area of network marketing, we could not have been more dissimilar. And it was that difference. It was that question that always bugged me, is why is Jim Packard consistently successful in whatever venture he starts, and certainly in network marketing? Why is he so successful? And me, when I do have some ability, why is it I struggle so badly? And the question that we sought to answer was simply this: how is it possible for smart, capable, intelligent, educated people to be completely aware of a few simple actions that they took them on a daily basis would result in tremendous life changes for the positive, and yet for some reason they can't muster that degree of consistent effort? And I saw the reason why this was such a reason why this question resonated with me is because it was such a personal thing with me, because I knew it to be the case. And I could not understand how it was. And then I came to realize there were a whole bunch of people that were exactly like me. So, and Jim, you ran into people like this in your business, people that you knew they could do it.
Oh, it always used to frustrate me, George. I would, I owned a copier company, as George alluded to, and we grew from, one sales rep to 30, and I would hire these great people, very capable people, and yet would watch them fail miserably. And it always used to frustrate me, because I gave them all the tools that I was using to be successful, and yet they couldn't implement them and have the success themselves. And I mean, I sold that company, retired to Arizona, and got involved in network marketing. And I took the same tools that I used in building my business and applied them here, and I was successful. And yet I would come across people that, like George, I didn't have him on my team, but I would be so frustrated, because I would look at him and go, why doesn't he do this business? Is it a lack of focus? Is it a lack of, maybe he doesn't have a big enough why? And, I just chalked it up. Well, okay, some will, some won't. So what? Next. What a terrible philosophy that is in life. But yeah, George would have really frustrated me. Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, because I knew he had the talent.
Yeah. So basically, what we did is I started this early on and did some research, and we kind of found I call them 3 little data points that, apart from each other, are kind of interesting. But when you combine them together, suddenly we understand why it is that somebody like Jim is unbelievably consistently successful, and somebody like me is hit or miss at best, and ultimately not successful. So the first thing that I started reading about was the Pareto Principle. And you're probably all familiar with this, maybe not by that name, but certainly by the 80-20 rule. And this is unbelievably pervasive. And it basically says that 80% of all results are going to be generated by 20% of people. And this is absolutely true in network marketing. And maybe 80-20 is being generous, because what would you guess, Jim, is the 80-20 break in network marketing?
Well, I think George is, 95-5 really.
Right.
I mean, you look at your people on stage all the time. It's less than 5%, probably even less than that. And it's
Yeah. And there are reasons why it is more, the break is even more extreme in network marketing. We talk about that in the book. But it is certainly present. So then the question became, because I became, once I read this and looked at it in the terms of network marketing, I knew which group I fell into. There was no question. I was in the 80%. I was firmly ensconced in the back rows of the auditorium when there were meetings, and Jim was going to be on stage. So I knew Jim was the 20. I knew I was the 80. What I wanted to understand is what separates us. And when you look at the 80-20, you can eliminate all the things that are in common. Education, equally present. Intelligence, both groups. Training, obviously everybody has basically the same amount of training, experience, ability, talent. It's all pretty much the same across the board. The one differentiating factor is this, is the 20% do what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, on a relentlessly consistent basis. And Jim would tell you that is absolutely his story. Day after day after day after day, he did what needed to be done. That's the 20%. The 80%, people like me, we know what needs to be done, but we don't do it, and we certainly don't do it consistently. And when you look at it in those terms, then it becomes very easy to tell who's going to succeed in this venture and who is not. And it comes down simply to consistency. So then the question becomes, well, why? Why is it possible for Jim to be so consistent and for George to struggle so badly with it? And so then we go to a study that was done in the late 1960s, early 1970s. And it became famously known as the Marshmallow Test, and you may have heard of this. And it was conducted at Stanford, and a researcher gathered together 300 5-year-olds, which I can't imagine what that day was like. Look, I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter, which is amazing because I have no children. And I know that's a story. But if I babysit her for half a day, I have to be hospitalized. So 300 5-year-olds is ridiculous. But they brought these kids one by one into a room, and they set them at a table, and on the table they set a marshmallow. And they said, here's the deal. The marshmallow is yours to eat anytime you choose. However, if you don't eat the marshmallow, we're going to leave. When we come back, if the marshmallow is still there, we're going to give you a second marshmallow, a little marshmallow double or nothing. Now, 5-year-old Jim, what would a 5-year-old Jim done with this challenge?
Well, first of all, I think I might have even been in that study group, but that's another story for another day. I definitely would not have eaten the marshmallow. In fact, I would probably try to negotiate if I waited a little bit longer, could I even get an extra marshmallow?
3 or 4.
Oh, yes, yeah. 3 or 4 of them would do just fine, yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to venture that Jim has every marshmallow he's ever earned. He's collected them all. Now, contrast that with George, 80% George. And I would have eaten the marshmallow before the guy got done explaining how this whole thing. I'm the, oh yeah, okay. You can leave if you want to, but the marshmallow's gone. Up to you, totally. So how this 80-20 thing comes into play here is that the percentage of kids who did not eat the marshmallow comes in right around 20%. Percentage of kids that ate the marshmallow, 80%. So 20% of us apparently are hardwired for the ability to delay gratification. 80% of us driven by instant gratification. And this study was kind of interesting. It would have been cute if they had stayed there, but they didn't. They followed up and they tracked the kids down at their latter teenage years. And what they found was, they were like, well, I wonder if this plays out any in life experiences. And what they found was the 20% non-marshmallow eaters had higher SAT scores, higher GPAs, and were judged to be more socially advanced. They tracked in again on them when they were in their midlife, 30s, 40s, and they found that the 20% non-marshmallow eaters had more educational attainment, more professional advancement, they earned more money, they divorced less, and by body mass index, they were actually healthier. So this is a significant thing. This is a big dang deal. But then the third little point here, and this is the point, it shocked me. The more I read about this and researched this, it's like everybody missed the most important thing, and that's why this is. And so the last check-in that they did was in 2011, and they brought the test subjects back in, and now computerization and medical technology has reached an apex where we can look inside a real live human brain in real time, non-invasively, and see what's going on. And what happened was a medical technician could look at these test subjects and tell you, based on the activity level of one of two parts of the brain, could tell you with 100% certainty whether or not that subject did or did not eat the marshmallow 50 years prior.
Wow.
That's scary, George.
That is amazing.
Let that sink in for a second. The difference in Jim's behavior and my behavior does not go to, well, George just doesn't have strong enough willpower. George just doesn't have a big enough why. George just doesn't care. No. It's not that. It's by age 5, we were wired completely differently. We think in different parts of our brains, literally. So Jim, when he makes a decision, he's in the prefrontal cortex. And that's the executive functioning part of the brain. That's the part of the brain that can look at any action in the moment and predict what the eventual outcome is going to be. So if Jim's going to build a network marketing business and he's deciding whether or not to pick up the phone to call somebody, well, what's that decision going to be? Well, of course I'm going to pick up the phone and call people, because I understand that this single action repeated over time is going to get me where I want to go. Boom. Prefrontal cortex, easy decision. Contrast that with me, and 80% of the people that are in your organization, we tend to make decisions like this in the ventral striatum. This is a much more primal portion of our brain, and it basically decides on 3 criteria. We call it the ESP filter. Is it easy? Is it safe? Is it pleasurable? Now, for me, for somebody who is not a natural salesperson or naturally outgoing, I'm an introvert. So the thought of picking up the phone and calling somebody, for me, is that easy? No. Is it safe? No. They could reject me. I could feel bad. It could run my whole day. Is it pleasurable? Not even close. So Jim, thinking here, picks up the phone. Me, thinking back here, no. You know what? And now I'm not going to be honest with myself and say, well, I'm never going to do this business, because my inability to pick up the phone means I'm never going to be able to do this business, so I'm out. No. What I'll say is, you know what? This is a terrible day to reach people. I think tomorrow's a much better day. So, for Friday, and then Saturday, you can't call Saturday because people are doing stuff, and Sunday is this, and you just keep pushing off your success, keep deferring activity until the point where you're really not even in this business anymore, really. And then we see people just gradually disappear. And that's what happened to me over and over and over again. And Jim, you saw this happen with people, legitimately great people you cared about, people that you knew could do this business.
Yeah, even
you watched them fade away.
Yeah, and what really was frustrating to me in another aspect, George, is I came up with a beautiful 8-step program that I called it the Daily Ate Scorecard. Quite frankly, I still use it, but it's 8 things you had to do every single day to be successful in this business. And I remember the first time George and I were discussing this, he goes, it's only one thing wrong with your Daily Ate Scorecard, and I'll let you tell the rest of the story.
Yeah, I told him it's 7 too many.
Yeah.
I said, for me, it's overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed by the thought of that. And because I'm overwhelmed, I'm not going to do any of it. And see, this is the biggest challenge for a leader. If you're a natural 20%er and you've developed, like Jim, you've developed a system that you absolutely know it works. You know it works. You've proven it works. People like you have proven it works. Now, all I have to do is just take up your system, do what you did, and I will be successful. And that's where the disconnect is. It's not that the systems are wrong or broke or they're just not appropriate for me, because this is the simple fact. No matter how great your system is, I ain't gonna do it. That's the disconnect, because this part of my brain would tell me, yeah, this system works. This system makes sense. It worked for Jim. I know that, but that ain't the part of my brain that's making the decision. This is the part of my brain that's making the decision, and I'm not going to take the action. And that's what's been so frustrating for leaders, is they know what they do works. What they don't understand is how they can get somebody like me to take the action consistently. And so on the heels of this marshmallow test thing, I read about this whole thing, and a little discouraging to find out that basically 80% of us are hardwired for failure. I mean, that's tough.
Well, as a leader, George, it's frustrating from our point of view too, because we know that if you follow what we just did, you'd be successful. And when you didn't follow it, we just term it as you're not focused enough, or it doesn't, big enough why. And obviously, and unfortunately in network marketing, we're trained that some will, some won't. So what? Go on to the next one. We're good at recruiting. That's what we do. And we leave that silent majority, or that 80%, like they say, they fade away eventually.
So what we're wanting to do, and what we're proposing, is that we're going to give you a different tool. If you're a leader and looking at this, we're going to give you a different tool to actually engage people like me. So you don't have to say some will, some won't, so what? Because it hurts to be so what. I'll tell you that now. It hurts to want to do this and not be able to do it. So please, help me do that. So on the heels of this rather discouraging information that you're hardwired to be a certain way, and if you're on the 80% that's hardwired to not be consistent, then you're basically left with three options. Since the ability to delay gratification is so important, then you need to learn how to delay gratification. And I will tell you, my experience in that was, because I went down this whole trip of trying to figure out how to fix myself. And I read all the books on how to learn how to delay gratification. And not only did I read them, I got them on Kindle. And why did I get a book on how to delay gratification on Kindle? So I could get it instantly. Woohoo! Yeah, that should tell you something right there. And I read all those books, and there was nothing in there that I felt like applied to me that I was going to be able to do, which makes sense. They were written by 20%ers for 20%ers. Duh, this is the whole disconnect. So the ability to learn how to delay gratification, I didn't see anything that would work. So that was out. The second option I had, and this is the option that most people in network marketing eventually choose, and that is, yeah, I'm going to quit. I got excited about this at first, and I thought it was for me, but you know what? Some things have happened, times have changed. I'm not even gonna say I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna stop showing up on the calls, and I'm gonna stop showing up at the meetings. And you know what? Do I really need the auto ship? Because that's $30 or whatever a month that I can, and just gradually they disappear. And then there's the third option. That's the one we are suggesting here. And that's quite simply this is, and I talk about this, this is what you need as an 80%er, and what we have for 80%ers. We have a plan for people who have a difficult time following a plan. That's the beauty of this. It's focused on people like me that are going to have a tough time with this. And what we're going to do is we're going to quit telling people you need to deny your essential nature. What we're going to say is, listen, you have a tough time to delay gratification, not an issue, because here's what we're going to do. We're going to take your insatiable desire for instant gratification, and we're going to show you how you're actually going to take that. And that's going to be the force that's going to drive you to your ultimate success. And that's the difference in this program is it's a completely different track than Jim was on. I can't follow his track. There's a path to get to where you want to go, but my path is going to look different than Jim's.
Yeah, even when I set a goal, George, right? You
Yeah.
know, and the little formula. In fact, you say it better than I do, but
Yeah,
uh,
the SMART goal. Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah. I mean,
SMART goals. Yeah.
there's nothing that Jim does there are very few things that Jim does that are going to work for me because I'm not going to do them. So, so here's how this whole thing came into being. Is my background was in stand-up comedy before I became a professional speaker, and I was hung around with all the guys coming up, and Seinfeld was one of them. And I saw an interview with Jerry uh, almost 4 years ago now. Was 4 years ago now, and he was somebody was talking to him, and he was telling about a kid that came up to him and said, "How do I become how do I become Jerry Seinfeld?" And Jerry said, "Well, okay, first of all, that was never the goal. That was never my goal to become Jerry Seinfeld that you see now." He said, "My goal was really simple. My goal was to become a better comic." And first of all, and this goes to what Jim was talking about before. Becoming a better comic violates all the goal setting stuff that we've heard for years. It's not specific. It's not measurable. It doesn't have a in time. It doesn't have a number associated with it for money. It violates all those things, which was okay for me because all those traditional goal setting things never worked for me anyway. I mean, I did all that stuff. I did all the things, but it never worked. And so this was a different kind of goal setting program. We call it goals, better. In my case, well, I digress. So you see, I want to be a better comic. And what Jerry did was he decided on an activity that was going to take him in the direction of being a better comic. And it was going to be what we call a high leverage activity. It's a activity that if he did it every single day, it was going to take him in the direction that he wanted to go at the fastest rate possible. And that was, he wrote jokes. He said, "I'm going to write jokes." So he wrote jokes the first day, made an X on the calendar. Wrote jokes the second day, made an X on the calendar. Now, the genius of Jerry Seinfeld, and the reason why he got $800 million for the rights to his sitcom, was because he didn't see two X's on a calendar. What he saw was a chain of two links. And day 3 and every other day after that, he had one very simple, specific goal. And that was, don't break the chain. And day 3, if you're an 80%er like me, day 3 is all we have to win. It's just one simple day. And it's not the challenge with goals for people like me is that we look, a goal by definition is the embodiment of delayed gratification. It's something far off. It's in the distance. It's unattainable right now. I can't reach it right now. But when we come down to don't break the chain, it is a goal of instant gratification. I can win it today. I can get it today. It satisfies my need for gratification. I can feel great about myself just today. When I saw this thing with the interview with Jerry, I thought, well, I almost missed it, to be honest with you. It was so simple. I was like, well, and so I thought, well, I'll try it. It took me a month to decide to do that. And I said, I'm going to take an area of my life that I've never been consistent, and I'm going to work out. I'm going to improve my health and fitness. And so, first of all, my goal was to become healthier, an goal, healthier, fitter, stronger. That was my simple goal. And I went to the gym the first day. And when I came back from the gym the first day, guess what I was? I was healthier. I was fitter. I was stronger. I won. I hit my goal. It felt great. I felt good about, oh my God, this is instantly, I felt great. So what are the odds of me going back the second day? Good, because I know I can win. And I went back the second day and the third day, and I put together a string of 531 straight workout days. Because and that was never my goal. My goal was never to work out for 365 days or 531 days, because that would have been ridiculous. It would have been unbelievable to me. I wouldn't have thought I could do it. And because I didn't think I could really do anything like that, I wouldn't even have started. I certainly wouldn't have kept at it to completion. My goal was to work out today. And because of that, that's what leads people like me to work out 531 straight days, is because I'm not trying to do it. I'm just winning today. I never work out tomorrow. And the entire time that I put that together, I never worked out tomorrow. I just worked out today. And think about that in the, I'm sorry, Jim, let me just think about that in the context of a network marketing business. If you decide on a specific action that's going to take you in the direction of you having a profitable, strong business, and you took that action 531 straight days, where would you be? You're going to be exactly where you want to go.
Absolutely.
You get there by taking your eyes off that big goal that's on the distant horizon that you can't really believe you're ever going to get there, and you just pull it back and say, just today, I'm just going to win today. And it feels good, and all the shame, all the discouragement, everything, all the stuff that we felt all these years because we're not doing the things that we know we ought to do, all that goes away. And now we can feel great about ourselves, and we're ready to take the next step the next day. Jim?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so your goal, George, wasn't to lose 40 pounds,
No.
some arbitrary figure. Your goal was just to be healthier that day, and which allowed you to get, your daily gratification, which reinforces, your goal and where you want to be. And same thing like when you're in sales, or same thing when you're in a network marketing company. When they announce a contest to Maui, you look at that and go, that's not for me, right? I can't do the work that's required to get there. But at the same time, you could be a better prospector, a better recruiter, or I'm becoming more of a learner, or whatever it might be. That you can get your instant gratification on a daily basis. And to somebody like me that's a 20%er, I look at the contest and go, how can I win too, right? And can I get airline tickets as a result as well? Yet 80% of the audience sitting there is saying, well, that's for somebody else, that's not for me. And yet we're trying to get everybody into action. And and the one thing as a leader, I never contemplated that I thought everybody thought like I did. I thought everybody that, everybody was, I just gave them the same tools to do exactly what I was doing. And that couldn't have been the same. I wish I could go back now and say, all I want you to do is prospect just today. You're a better prospector.
Reach out to somebody.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and so what we ask of people who see this and kind of get their heads around this a little bit is you decide on the part of your life that you want to deal with. And I'm assuming that anybody watching this is on this, is looking at this video because they want to build a business. So I'm just going to start from that assumption. And then you define what your ER goals are. I want to be a better recruiter. I want to be a better inviter. I want to be a better listener. Or I want to feel better about myself as far as I feel a little bit more brave today. I feel a little bit more bold today. I want more experience. I want more skill, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to build that on a daily basis. So you figure out what those ER goals or more goals are for you, and then you decide on a high leverage activity, something that really is going to matter. We suggest, and again, I would ask anybody that's watching this to check upline and see how appropriate this is for you. But we suggest what we call our 21 program. Jim, you want to explain that?
Yeah, when we were starting this company, I knew George's background, and I was excited that we finally had a tool that we could help an awful lot of people. And I said, well, George, you can at least talk to one person a day about our great concept or about a book. And I really didn't get the reaction that I was expecting. It was more like, like the deer in the headlight look. And I'm thinking, we're only talking one person. I mean, I wanted to say you can talk to 10 people a day, but I said, you can talk to at least one, right, George? And he goes, no. And just kind of flippant, I said, well, you could reach out to one person a day, right? Or a couple people a day. And George said, yeah, if I didn't have to talk to them, I could reach out. And that's when we came up with a 21 program where you just reach out to two people a day. And it could be as simply as on LinkedIn where, hey, I know there's a lot of exciting things going on in my life. I'm sure there is yours as well. Let's have a conversation someday. I mean, to me, that's a reach out. You're starting a dialogue, a relationship with somebody, right? Lord forbid if they ask you what you're doing, all right? And then that becomes a conversation. And that 21 little program has allowed us to take non-performers, and we have metrics now that we can take, and I'll let you share that, George, because you're the one that collects the metrics, but it's amazing the results we're seeing from people that have had low activity.
Yeah. So the 21 program is just simply reach out to two or talk to one. And right now, I mean, my God, I mean, just as human beings, it doesn't matter what we're doing, building businesses or whatever, man. We just reaching out to people right now has probably never been more important, because there's a lot of people that are living in fear and despair and no hope. And just being able to reach out to somebody, say, buddy, I was thinking about you. Want to check on you, see how you're doing. Let's talk sometime. And that would qualify as a reach out. And you're not overtly offering a business opportunity, anything. What you're overtly offering is the fact that you're a human being who cares about somebody, which is going to lead to the best conversations you're going to have anyway. So that's a 21 program. And anybody can reach out. Jim says, I don't want to talk to people. I really don't. I'm an introvert, and it's hard for me. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not safe. It's not pleasurable for me. Now, after the phone call's over, I may look at that and go, boy, that was easy. That was safe. That was pleasurable. But in the beginning, that's not my thought. And so reaching out to two people, what that's going to do is that's going to generate the conversations that you may be a little bit reluctant to initiate, but now they're going to start coming to you. Now you're going to connect, and it's going to lead to that. So you're filling the pipeline that's going to lead to the eventual conversations that are going to lead to the eventual opportunities to share what it is that you're doing, that you can help somebody. And it's going to lead to your eventual success. And that's just that daily activity that takes you in the right direction. The one thing that we would ask, no matter who is watching this or when you're watching it, here's the most important thing that you can do is once you watch this and you decide you're wanting to build your business, you decide on your ER goal, and you decide on your high leverage activity, start now. As soon as you're done with that, and that won't take you 5 minutes. As soon as you're done with that, reach out to two people. You'll be shocked how easy it is. Start today. Your chain, whenever you're watching this, your chain starts today. And if you put it off, you've lowered your chances of ever doing this, we say, by 80%. Just keeping the 80. We have no statistics to back that up, but we feel pretty good about that number. So let me tell you what we've done in the last year, because this has really been fascinating. And this is the reason why, if you're watching this and you're thinking, man, this sounds like they might be talking about me. This might be effective for me. Well, we decided about a year ago that we were going to put together some metrics, because when we talk to leaders in companies, they're the most resistant to this idea because it's so foreign to them. So we wanted to have some hard numbers that we could say, okay, here's what this will do. And that's what we started doing. We started doing case studies. And the selection for the case studies was fun, because we got people filling out surveys so that we could see what their level of consistency was before, and then we would be able to do a comparison. So Jim, tell about going through those case studies.
We had about 100 people that filled out these questionnaires, and I'm going through all the questionnaires and looking for people that I think would be just super to be on one of our chain, we call them chain gangs. And I would go through these, and I looked at this one. She hasn't made any calls this month. She made one in the last 3 months. Nope, that goes over here. I'm really debating if I even want to stay in network marketing, but I filled out this questionnaire. Nope, put her over there. And I went through and I picked my top 20. And I said, okay, George, I've got our top 20. And he says, well, let me go through them and see if you and I have the same ones. I'll let you tell the rest of the story.
Well, I went through it and selected my top 20. And there wasn't a single person that existed on both lists.
Not one. Not one.
Not one. But
Yeah.
which makes sense, because Jim was doing what leaders traditionally do in network marketing: is they find the people most similar to them, the people they think have the best chance of actually making this thing making this thing work. I went through and I said, who looks like me? Who is struggling? Who, if we could actually affect their activity level, we could affect their lives. And so I went through and I found the people that were at a 5 to 10% activity level, and that might be generous in some cases. And we put them in these little accountability groups. We call them chain gangs, and they're anywhere from 3 to 5 people. And it's a support and accountability group. It's a way for them to feel a part of a team and get pings all during the day that remind them that, yeah,
Feel good about themselves daily.
Yeah, and somebody pings in that they did their thing, and somebody else congratulates them, and it just the simplicity of the consistency chain combined with these accountability groups, this chain gangs. What we saw is that people moved from a rate of 5 to 10 to 20% at the low end to a consistent. And this is for months now. And this includes going through the holidays. This includes going through the coronavirus. We're consistently holding at 83%. And I will tell you, if you show up in your business 83% of the time, you're unstoppable. It's inevitable. And that's the little difference. Just this little difference of the concept of the consistency chain combined with this little bit of accountability. And we're right now, my God, I wish I could tell you when this is going to be, but it's going to be soon. We're working with some people right now so that people are going to be able to access this consistency chain, put them in a chain gang. Everybody's going to be locked and loaded. It's all going to be automatic, and it's going to be just absolutely awesome. So that we can scale this up, because right now it's very time intensive for us to be able to manage this. We're going to be able to scale this up, so somebody's going to be able to drop this in their organization and turn people on from a dead standstill of activity up to a really, really nice effective range where they're going to start seeing results. So that's really cool. That's the cool. And it's funny, I'm not sure what happened. We've been messing with this for a while, but I'm not sure without this coronavirus thing, this would have happened, because it's really, it changed our business model, and it changed the way we realized that we were going to have to meet and talk with people, because we were no longer going to be on big stages, because those stages, at least for the next 6 months to a year, are probably not going to exist. And so we're like, how can we affect the most people the quickest? And we came up with this. But it also made me realize that right now, if you're a network, if you have a network marketing opportunity, I think you have a window that you've never seen before, and you're never going to see again in your lives, because people who felt so sure and so secure in their plan A that they were never going to really seriously consider joining you in your business, that has absolutely been removed from their lives. And there are people now that are going to be looking at a plan B. They're going to be looking at some way that they can regain a degree of control over their lives and their incomes and their future. They're going to be open to looking at things that they would not have been 4 weeks ago. And that is a tremendous opportunity right now. That's the reason why you have to start right now, reaching out to those people, letting them know you care, letting them know you're thinking about them, so that when we get to the place where they're going to be able to get enough of a breath to catch their breath, they're going to say, who you find out who your friends are during this period of time. And man, you want to be friends with some people. You want them to know that, hey, I'm serious about connecting with you. I'm serious about being a positive aspect in your life. And then who are they going to look to when they're really looking for that plan B, that other option in their lives? They're going to be looking to you. So go now. There's never been a better time.
Well, a lot of those people now, George, are looking at Google. Google in the last 45 days, the number one search has been for alternative ways to make money.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
There's people sitting out there right now waiting for a phone call from somebody that's in the network marketing, somebody that can show them a plan B. And one of the things I was going to bring up on the chain gangs, and we have people in the chain gangs, not only in network marketing, but in,
Right.
you know, real estate and in mortgage and we have 20 percenters that are in chain gangs.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
what's happening with those 20 percenters is that, I mean, they already had activity levels of 80, 85%, but now they're 100%. And April, correct me if I'm not, you've been in the chain gang now for a little bit, right? I don't think you've missed a day.
No, wouldn't miss a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
what's great about it is the 20 percenters, they just say, okay, I'm going to do that. And then they just add to it because
Yes.
they can't help themselves. So they just,
Right.
Yeah.
they just do more, you know?
Yeah. That's what happens.
And one of the things with leaders in network marketing, it's easy to fall into a management mode, you know, where you're kind of managing what you've done so far. And what this forces you to do is to stay into a mix of creative mode. So you're also out there and you're handling the same questions and you're in the same conversation so that you're better able to help the people in your group. And, you know, it's exciting to add new people on a personal level and get to relive that experience again of somebody starting their business and that excitement, enthusiasm. And yeah, that's just a cool thing.
It's so cool hearing you say what you just did because for the last month, I mean, we just knew the communication was going to be so important. And we even changed from text to voice text, started doing daily chats with people live every day where they can just see each other, interact. And, you know, it's great hearing you say that because, you know, we've been telling our team to adapt that way ever since we met you the first time, you know?
Wow. Well, we were talking on a call earlier, and I said, you know, the thing is hard to get your head around, but if you can, you position yourself for incredible success, and that is, you cannot have this degree of disruption that we've seen globally without there being commensurate opportunity. And if you realize that you can be a part of that, and you can say, you know what, I'm not suggesting that this because I know personally the people that have lost incomes and are just trying to figure out, you know, how they're going to make through this. So I'm not diminishing the negative aspects of this. I'm just saying it's a possibility that we can pull some positive things from this, and it's a much better way for us to be in action now and stay in action now, to focus on the positive things that we can do rather than be drugged down by all the negative that's around us.
Absolutely.
Well, you're so right. I mean, I just in the last couple of days, I got messages back from people, you know, cold market, kind of went to high school together, but it's cold market. It's, you know,
Right.
Didn't know each other, you know, and, but they're medical professionals. They're knee deep in it. You know, they're nurses, doctors, hospital administrators. Amazing responses coming back, just saying, hey, I am up to my, you know, I'm doing all I can do right now, but I want to talk to you as soon as this settles down.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're right. There's a new normal coming, and we've never seen it before.
Yeah.
And
Tremendous opportunity.
We've always said that, you know, personalities aren't duplicatable. They're not. But systems are. That's why a 16-year-old can run a McDonald's when the owner's not there. And we now have a system for the 80 percenters to follow. And my goodness, if you don't have hope right now or faith in something, I feel really sorry for those people. But everybody that's listening to this has something that they're working on. So we have the hope. Now it's just a matter of doing the activity.
Absolutely.
So tell folks where to get your book and, you know, give them some instructions. It's the
Sure.
consistency chain. It's right here. I just wish you wrote it 25 years ago, but that's okay. No, it's okay.
You and me. I wish I had learned this lesson 25 years ago too. Trust me on that.
But I'll just go with it from this point on, you know.
Yeah, it's the consistency chain for network marketing. It's available on Amazon, although right now, I haven't checked in the last few days. It's taken like 2 or 3 weeks for them to ship now because Amazon is trying to get important stuff.
Well,
but you can
virus.
but you can get it on you can get the Kindle version obviously immediately. And then we've got we recorded the audio version. I'm not sure if it's up yet or not. It's not up on Audible on Amazon yet.
Great. I am. It's funny. April's a hard book person. I'm an Audible person. I want to listen while I'm exercising or riding my bike. You know.
Right. Well, and this is a fun book. This is a fun book to do because we've got a woman that is a good friend of mine, is a great voice, and she kind of did the narrator portion of it, and then it's the portions of the book that are me, and then our Jim we actually do. So we went in studio, so you get a real sense of the personality of us.
And then they can get it right away. If the paper is back ordered, they can get it right away.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I know it's available on Clickable, I think, right now. I will find that link and I will send you the link so that if somebody wants the audio book, they can get it right now.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I want to listen to it now that I read it. I want to hear it.
Yeah,
Your voices in it? Are the two of you? Your voices are in it?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We went in. Yeah,
That's
it was a lot of fun. It was a long day. I'll tell you that. But
Well, I had never done anything like that, George. I mean, George is an expert, and he said, "We're going to go tape a book." I mean, I was leaving every 5 minutes and taking water because I did not feel well. But George's personality comes through really, really great in the book, and I think you'll enjoy it. But,
we just had to clear up Jim. There were some words that he chose to say in Maine.
Idea, like an idea.
Yeah.
Idea.
Yeah. We had to clear up some Maine accent issues, but other than that, we were okay.
Yeah. But we really appreciate you letting us to talk to your team.
Well,
it's a great honor for us to do that.
No, the honor's ours.
It's ours.
Thank you for redoing this. And like I said, I haven't shut up about the book. I just like everybody.
Good. Thank you.
This is too simple. Just do it.
And that's not her style, man.
Yeah.
That is just not. It's been amazing listening to her with it. You know, just. So that one last point you want to make, George, what is it they do? Starting when?
Start now. Now, as soon as this thing comes to an end, this is the time to start. Right now. You'll never be more excited about starting right now than right now. So start, go. And you're going to get a sense of power and control. And it's going to make you feel happy about yourself. You're going to say, if you're an 80% person who struggled to keep promises that you've made to yourself, you can start right now, and man, it feels good. And at some point in time, it becomes addictive and it becomes a habit. And you're just like, you know what, I'm starting to like this person a little bit. I think I can start to trust this person a little bit. Man, that's a nice feeling.
That's
awesome. Hey guys, thank you, man.
So much.
And stay safe, please.
Our
Stay
pleasure.
safe. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye all.